What's up, you guys? So in today's video, I'm going to teach you guys how to build credit. I get a lot of people who often ask me how do they build credit or start off as a beginner, so this video is for them. So in this video, I'm going to briefly go over what credit is, the positive and negative effects from it, how it can benefit you, and what you can gain from building your credit score long term. Your credit score is basically a report showing you how well you can manage your money. So the higher your credit score is, the more likely banks would be able to give you money, whereas the lower your credit score is, the less likely banks are able to give you money. Now this can be good for you because this can make you more likely to get good loans with lower interest rates anytime you want to leverage your money. So having good credit can explain why some people are able to book flights for free, get hotels for free, or even go out to eat for free just off of the rewards from their credit cards. Now I can promise you that if you are able to get a credit card, you will be able to benefit like that as well. So the most important thing right now is to get a credit card and just be patient. It does not cost a thing, it just takes time. So the first things we'll be going over is how your credit report is graded. 35% of it is the payment history. Now, the payment history...
So what's up, you guys? I just thought it'd be easier to show you what the payment history looks like. It's basically the amount of on-time payments I have made with any credit line I have. So in this case, I have made 169 payments in total. So if I were to miss one or two, it wouldn't be too bad because that'd be 167 divided by 169, which would put me around 99% still. Now, if I get to a 98% ratio or lower, that would be pretty bad, and that could actually hurt my credit score a lot.
So you never want to miss a payment, always want to pay on time, and always make at least the minimum payment every month. So you always want to pay on time because if you don't, it can actually affect your percentage of payment history. So let me just give you a quick example. Let's say you have one credit card and you've had it for about 60 months. What you want to do is divide the total amount of months that you've made those on-time payments over the total amount of payments. So 59 divided by 60, that will give you around 98%, which sounds good, but it's actually going to put you around the yellow area in credit if you check your Credit Karma website. So now, if you were able to actually get a second credit card though, and you had both cards for about 60 months, what you would want to do is divide, let's say 119 divided by 120, that will get you around 99%. And that's actually pretty good in Credit Karma's standpoint. The second most important factor of building credit is your credit utilization. That accounts for about 30% of your credit score. Most bureaus just want to see that you're not over leveraging your money or spending too much money on your credit cards and whatnot like that. So an example is I have two credit cards. They both have $5,000 limits on them each. That would bring my total limit to $10,000. So my total utilization rate is $10,000. If I were to spend $8,000, I have spent 10% of that credit utilization. Now, if I were to spend anything over, let's say 25 to 30%, they would look at me and just be like, oh, you're spending a little too much money there, buddy. Chill out. And if I spend any more, that'll start lowering my credit because I have now over leveraged my money in a sense. So that brings my score down. However, once you just pay that off or bring your total credit utilization rate back down to around 30-ish or lower percent, then your credits should start going back up.
So real quick is just an example of how the credit utilization works. About a year ago, I think I was at like a 737, and I used my credit card utilization to up to like a 40%, and that dropped me down to like a 687. So it went down like 50 points because I over leveraged my account. Now, after bringing that back up, paying it off, boosted me right back up to now I'm at a 755.
And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. They just want to see that you have some self-control. So if I have a limit of $100,000, I'm not spending $100,000 every month. I'm spending maybe $10,000 or less a month. So that way they know I can easily just pay that off. This is also how some people can be put into credit card debt, because if you are just spending and maxing out your cards, you're gonna have to pay it back eventually. Not only that, now you have to pay it back with a 10 to 20% interest fee. So now you're paying, let's say, if you spent $1,000 and you maxed out your card, you're adding 20% on top of that. That's $1,200 you now have to pay back. And was it really worth it in the long run? No. So please just spend 20% or less when it comes to credit cards. And lastly, when it comes to this, I would say just ask for an increase, maybe every year or so, to further increase your credit card utilization rate. Third thing I'm going to talk about is your credit history. That's just basically the age of how long your credit lines have been opened. So this is why I often try and get people that are like kind of young, like maybe 18, and don't even have like a credit card to get a credit card, because as soon as you get one, the more time that credit card ages, the higher your credit card history is, which is good. So I had my first credit card when I was 18, and it was my first year of college. It was a student credit card. It only had $1,000 on it, and I, used it accordingly. That boosted my credit card score to like 700s, like after 3 years. Now, just keep in mind that when you open or close a credit card, that can actually affect it, because
And let me explain. Let's just say you've opened one credit card 4 years ago. That would mean your average credit history shows as 4 years. But if you opened up that one credit card 4 years ago and then you opened up another new credit card today, your average credit history would be reduced now to 2 years. Remember, because it only takes the average.
The fourth one I want to talk about is hard inquiries, and that's not too important. It's basically the amount of times your credit has been run. The more your credit report is run, the more it can affect your credit in a sense. This often happens for a lot of people who go and try and get brand new cars from dealerships. That's typically bad, because what they'll do is they'll run your credit so much until they find another bank that's willing to give you X amount of money. So you just want to think about it like this. The more you ask for money, the riskier it becomes for you to get that money. If you've never had your credit report run within the past 2 years, that's good, because now banks will be like, oh, he's straight. He might be able to give us our money back. Let's run his credit score real quick.
Don't worry, we can just transfer money from your account into a portfolio with your son, and it's gone! This line is for people who have money with the bank only. Please step aside.
Well, the good news about this one is, though, it only affects your score for about 1 year, and it falls off after 2 years. So if you've had your credit run 8 times in a year, it'll only affect it for that year, and then it'll fall, all 8 of them will fall off in 2 years. Say about having 3 to 5 lines of credit would be a decent start for you to build your credit overall. So a quick credit hacking tip would be that if you know somebody that has good credit, I would say like a relative, you could just always ask them if you want to be like an authorized user on their account. When you're an authorized user on their account, that's essentially just them being like, hey, I'm going to add this person onto my credit line, and you will basically get all the same credit history and the same on-time payments as them on that card that they have. So that could actually be great for beginners, because let's say if your score is about like a 650 right now, you could always just instantly boost your score from there by just being an authorized user on their account. Or even if you have a low credit card score, that can also boost your account, because now it's showing that you have good credit. The next thing would just be to constantly keep checking your credit. If you go to websites like Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, or Experian.com, they will always give you your most up-to-date or most recent score. Sometimes they're about a week apart, but for the most part, they tend to update it pretty quickly. And that's it for this week, guys. If you have any other questions, topics, or things you want me to talk about, just please reach out to me on social media or comment down below. Just like and subscribe, and I'll keep posting more.